Have you ever felt like you're living below your true potential? As if there's something great inside you, but the world around you insists on convincing you otherwise? The truth is that most people carry unfulfilled dreams, dormant talents, and a voice stifled by routine, fears, and other people's opinions. But what if I told you that all of this can start to change today, with just one decision? I'm not here to sell you miracles, magic formulas, or cheap motivation. I'm here to remind you of what you already know, but perhaps you've forgotten. You have greatness inside you. Yes, you. And when you start listening to the right voice every day, the one that lifts you up, challenges you, and wakes you up, your mindset changes, your energy changes, and your life changes. Get ready. This content may confront you, but if you really listen, it will set you free. Don't judge someone just by what they've achieved. Look at the obstacles they've had to overcome. The true measure of greatness lies in what no one sees: the silent falls, the sleepless nights, the invisible sacrifices. Determined people don't live on excuses, they live on decisions. And every decision requires courage to go beyond what is comfortable. Overcoming begins when you stop playing the victim and choose to act. Even when everything says no, the determined spirit responds with "I'll try one more time." Persistence is a silent but devastating force. Want a practical example? Choose a small challenge today and face it without leaving room for doubt. The habit of winning starts with the details. Life will knock you down. That's true. But what really matters is what you do after you fall. If you can look up, you can get up. Every setback you face is actually preparation for your comeback. It's not the end, it's just training before the next level. Mindset is what transforms pain into power and scars into strength. Do you want to grow? Then you need to get used to discomfort. Greatness is not born in the comfort zone, it is forged in the heat of resistance. Start by talking to yourself and replacing "I can't" with "I haven't learned yet." Try reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. A high mindset is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. When you are truly committed to your greatness, you act as if there are no limits. Not because it's an illusion, but because your faith overcomes your fears and your purpose is greater than any barrier. People like that don't ask, "Will it work?" They ask, "How do I make it work?" The impossible begins to give way when the mind believes before the eye see. The truth is that opportunities abound, but only those who have vision can see them. Vision is different from sight. Sight is what the eyes see. Vision is what the spirit feels. Elevate your thinking and you will see doors where before you only saw walls. Do you want to practice this? Write down 3 bold ideas today that seemed out of your reach and take the first step towards one of them. Many people live imprisoned in lies they have heard since childhood. You are not good enough. This is not for you. No one in your family has achieved it. When these phrases are repeated, they begin to seem true, but they are just mental programming. Life changes when you decide to erase these voices and write a new narrative with your own voice. The opinion of others does not define who you are. Period. Do you know who you are? What you build when no one is looking. It doesn't matter if they called you stupid, lazy, lost. You have the power to reprogram your mind and break away from these labels. Start by saying, "I am more than they said I was." Repeat this until your soul believes it. Maybe you grew up hearing that you weren't smart enough. Maybe you were that discredited student, labeled as a lost cause. But let me tell you something, your past does not define your identity. Self-improvement begins when you look at this history and say, "This is no longer who I am." It is in this decision that transformation begins. You don't have to accept what they threw at you. The world loves to put labels on you, but you can tear them off. Do you know the story of people like Albert Einstein, who was considered slow as a child, or Thomas Edison, who was called incapable at school? They proved that no label has power over a stubborn mind. And you can do the same. You are much more than you imagine. There is something inside you, a voice, a flame, a silent force that knows exactly the way. But it was silenced by external screams. Comparisons, criticism, expectations. When you disconnect from yourself, you live at the mercy of the world. But when you hear that inner voice, everything changes. It's like remembering who you've always been. Maybe that God you're looking for so much out there is waiting to be heard inside. He speaks in silence, in intuition, in moments of courage amidst fear. If you don't listen to yourself, you will live according to the commands of others. Do you want a practical exercise? Set aside 10 minutes today. Be silent and just write down what your heart has been trying to tell you for a long time. You are not here by chance. There is a purpose that beats inside you, even when the world insists on distracting you. And believe me, discovering who you are not is as important as discovering who you are. Sometimes, saying that it does not belong to me is the first step towards your true path. Identity is not something you find outside. It is something you activate inside. Stop trying to fit into molds that were not made for you. You are not just another person, you are a unique expression of something much bigger. Do you want to start taking control of your life? Write down what you do that exhausts you and what you do that energizes you. In this simple answer there may be a powerful clue about your calling. The truth is hard, but liberating. We all face adversity. Know there is life without pain, but there is life with purpose despite the pain. Every challenge that comes your way did not come to break you, it came to reveal you. There is something in you greater than any problem that confronts you. You just need to stop running away and start facing it. Pain is inevitable. Staying in it is optional. When you understand that you are not alone in this fight and that life is made up of ups and downs, you start to see the falls as part of the plan. Read The Obstacle is the Path, by Ryan Holiday. He shows how even the stones that get in our way can become steps. Your response to pain is what shapes your destiny. Seeking greatness is an act of courage. It is choosing to stand up when it would be easier to retreat. It is taking risks when everything around you asks for caution. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is faith in movement. And when you act with confidence, even trembling inside, you inspire, influence, and make an impact. You become the spark that lights other flames. Life rewards those who dare. Great transformations never happen in safe zones. Do you want to grow? Then commit to taking risks. Act with faith, even without guarantees. Try doing something today that you have been putting off out of fear. It could be a difficult conversation, a forgotten project, a step out of the routine. Remember, courage is a muscle. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. Even in moments of silence, when it seems that no one understands what you are going through, there is a presence that accompanies you. It doesn't matter what name you give it, God, Spirit, consciousness, the important thing is to know that you are not alone. This presence strengthens you, guides you, and often frees you from paths that you did not even realize you were taking. Trust it. How many times have you saved yourself by a hunch? Or had strength that you did not even know you had to continue? This is more than a coincidence. It is your spirit speaking to you. Connect with it. Start the day with a minute of silence, conscious breathing, and a simple question: what do I need to hear today? The answer, almost always, comes from within. There is something reserved for you that goes far beyond what your eyes have ever seen or your ears have ever heard. But this something only reveals itself when you stop resisting and start surrendering to your calling. Your potential is like a seed that seems small, but carries an entire forest. The problem is that many people die without planting. You don't need to understand every detail of the path, you just need to take the next step with faith. Unlimited potential is not about doing everything at the same time, it is about going beyond what you thought was your limit. Want to unlock this? Take something that you feel you are not ready to do and start anyway. Preparation comes with dedication. Greatness is not about fame, numbers, or applause. Greatness is serving something bigger than yourself. It is finding that which you love so much that you would be willing to do even without recognition, just for the joy of contributing. When you surrender with purpose, the world responds. You stop just existing and start making an impact. Want a practical example? Think about what you would do for free, just because you feel you were born to do it. It could be teaching, creating, caring, building. This is a clue to your calling. Study people like Viktor Frankl, who found meaning even in the midst of extreme pain. Because true greatness is not seen in the spotlight, it is seen in dedication. Now imagine yourself on your deathbed, surrounded not by people, but by unfulfilled dreams. Projects you abandoned. Ideas you didn't have the courage to execute. They look at you and say, "Only you could give us life, now we will die with you." This scene is hard, but too real to be ignored. Time is limited and regret is eternal. Death does not warn. And the worst pain is not leaving, it is realizing that you never really lived. That you hid behind fears, excuses, and distractions. That you postponed your own soul in the name of the future. Reflect on what you would leave as a legacy if you left today. It's not too late to turn this story around, but it's urgent. What part of your life will still exist when you're gone? This is the question that separates those who live on impulse from those who live on purpose. Your legacy is not in the things you've accumulated, but in the lives you've touched. True greatness is living in such a way that your death is felt for what you built, not for what you didn't do. Want to start leaving a legacy? Learn. Grow. Teach. Share. What you master may be exactly what someone is looking for. Be a channel, not an end in itself. Think of names like Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, or even that teacher who marked your childhood. They've passed, but the impact, that remains. Everyone has something that makes their heart beat faster. A mission that, when discovered, turns into a magnificent obsession. Not that unhealthy obsession, but that good hunger that makes you wake up excited, with your eyes shining. Society loves to point out your limitations, but your true power is hidden exactly in that which you cannot ignore. Have you ever stopped to think about what really moves you? What keeps you awake, not because of worry, but because of excitement? It could be writing, creating, helping, building. Don't ignore this calling. Do you want to reawaken this obsession? Go back to doing something you loved and put aside due to lack of time. Sometimes, your destiny is hidden there. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant what you want, weeds will grow. And most people live with their heads full of emotional garbage, toxic news, and empty conversations. Do you want to change your life? Start by changing what you consume. Read something every day that elevates your vision. Practical tip? The Miracle Morning, by Hal Elrod, is a great starting point. It's not just about reading, it's about the environment, people, and habits. Take care of your mind like you take care of your body. You would never eat something spoiled, so why do you accept rotten thoughts? Reflect on who you hang out with, what you watch, what you listen to. Your mental programming defines your decisions, and your decisions build your destiny. Growth requires risk. There is no way to grow by staying in the same place, doing the same things, with the same excuses. If you are not willing to take risks, you are choosing to stagnate. And stagnation generates frustration. Do you know that emptiness that appears at the end of the day? Many times it is your soul's cry for evolution. Happiness is directly linked to progress. It is not about having everything, but about becoming something greater. Ask yourself, in what area of my life am I challenging myself today? If the answer is none, it is time to move the pieces. Start small, face a simple fear, say an uncomfortable yes. Every leap begins with a step. When you love what you do, studying becomes a pleasure, not an obligation. You dive deep, lose track of time, enter the famous state of flow. But it is not enough to love, you have to become excellent. Competence is what transforms passion into concrete purpose. The combination of love and skill builds something that no one can take away from you. Do you want to truly fulfill yourself? Losing yourself in the mission is the way. Choose a theme, a cause, a skill that lights you up inside and go for it. Become a reference. Read, practice, teach. Start with 20 minutes a day of intentional study. You will be amazed at the transformation that comes from simply loving the process. There are times when trying to be strong all the time only makes us weak. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of emotional intelligence. Even the greatest need support. A mentor, a friend, a right word at the right time can change everything. No one wins alone, nor was they made to do so. We are bridges for each other. So repeat after me, no matter how bad things are, I will make it. But if I can't make it alone, that's okay. Wisdom is knowing how to recognize when you need support. Want a practical step? Write down the names of 3 people you can count on and reach out to one of them today. Sometimes all it takes is a push. Your voice carries who you are. When you learn to communicate with clarity, truth, and intention, you start to make an impact not only by speaking. Developing this skill is like tuning an instrument. The more you practice, the more authentic and powerful you become. Want to live with purpose? Learn to express it. Your story can be the map of someone's overcoming. Voice is not just about words. It's about presence, energy, intention. A firm look, a confident gesture, a well-placed phrase change environments. Start simple, record audios for yourself, practice speaking out loud, read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those who master their own voice, master their own path. Amplify your message. Your life is a story that someone needs to hear. And when you find other voices that also shine with hope, you realize that you are not alone on this journey. There is a greater mission at stake. And living with purpose means living connected to something that transcends the ego. It means living in service, in presence, in love. Time is running out, and we all have a deadline. The question is, what are you going to do with the time you have left? Are you going to remain silent, or are you going to light your flame and illuminate others? Live with purpose. Live with love. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you've achieved, it's about who you've become along the way. Now tell me, what are you going to do with everything you've just heard? Are you going to let the words pass by like the wind, or are you going to transform them into action? Life doesn't change with fleeting motivation, it changes with consistent decisions. And the decision is there, in your hands, to continue the way you are or to become who you were born to be. Reflect on what you can apply today, even today, to live with more purpose. Which voice will you start listening to, the voice of doubt or the voice of greatness that calls you? If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. Here, every word is a seed of transformation.